supporter Mark Albert beginning in 2010 and continuing into the present. And it's defamatory and slander. Under the guise of investigative reporting, KSTP reports have done nothing more than bash the poor and put a spotlight on those
to the media.
We're still experiencing an economic crisis, and in this country, with 1 in 7 people receiving health care, in Minnesota, 11% live in poverty, and 1
I was talking into your title.
And these reports are only serving to discourage those who need assistance to speak. Channel 5 News is negligent reporting on welfare fraud and rape and misrepresentation of the actual facts put out by the Department of Human Services is deplorable at best. Cases of welfare fraud raised in Minnesota are only 1% according to the Minnesota Department of Human Services. We, the members of the Welfare Rights Committee, demand fair and ethical, responsible journalism, reporting, and call for KSTP protest attacks on Minnesota's poor and working families and We further demand that KSTP report the truth about poverty and welfare, including a report on why the grants have not been raised for families who depend on assistance. We also want to know why the same intensity and persistence in fighting fraud with welfare is not pursued with stories about corporate fraud and welfare. That's right. It's far more damaging to the economy than that struggling The Welfare Rights Committee will continue to combat these broke stereotypes of poor families and welfare recipients and champion education policy. We are here to serve as advocates for the poor families while educating the public and citizens of Minnesota about welfare and the plight of hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans. And specifically, our demands are: 1, immediately stop the welfare bashing theories and reports. 2, fair and ethical reporting, responsible reporting to this end. We demand KSTP do an equal amount of reports that tell the truth about poverty and welfare, that break down the stereotypes about welfare, that reveal how low the welfare grants are and the fact that they have not been raised for 20 years. And 3, do an investigative report on corporate fraud. Yes. You can give me a copy. So we'll be on copy too. 28% of kind of for the federal state grants in Minnesota goes to cash.
That happened in 2012.
Basically, what we're asking for is we're asking for fair and ethical journalism reporting when it comes to welfare fraud and waste. And we feel that Channel 5 News has not done so. Where's the attention towards corporate welfare and corporate waste? Why wasn't as much attention given to that as to so-called welfare recipients and Minnesota's poor and working families?
And we want you to put a face to the title poverty. It's not numbers, it's women, children, handicapped, so.
I don't understand that at all. And if you look at our full reporting, beyond this series, where we have done so many stories on poverty, on need for food shelves, the lack of food, our station itself supports initiatives. We did the backpack campaign all summer for children who aren't being fed.
We wouldn't need those if the cash grants were.
Thank you.
But you shouldn't.
Hold on.
Can she finish?
Let her finish her statement.
Can Lindsay please finish?
We're not bashing welfare. My husband is a bankruptcy attorney. He deals with people that are on the brink every single day. And I know the stories, and I know how much welfare helps people survive and feed their children and feed their families. We're not targeting individuals. What we're looking at is a system, and we went and pulled the data from the state. It was state data that we pulled that showed where the system was being. I know that you are here because you're passionate and because you are responsible individuals. There are bad people in every area of life. Before, some people were abusing the dollars that are rightfully should be going to feed their families. That was
But the fact is that you are targeting, you're putting a microscope on the poor community. In the rich community, you would find 10,000 times more of fraud and statements. And you're right. And really who owns KSTP? Is that why you're leaving the rich alone and you're putting a microscope on the minuscule amount of people on welfare that there might be an error with? You know what? You can find $5 on the street and not report it, and that's considered welfare fraud. This is really what you're talking about. I don't believe that your reporting has been ethical and fair. What we're saying is we want you to make up. 1, we want that to stop now. We want it to stop immediately. 2, we want you to make up for the damage that you have done. Because those reports do massive damage to poor women and children that have to live on welfare. Believe me, we're not there
unless we really have to be. And that's a fact.
And I just want to also say, what you guys call fraud is what we call a hustle, to live. That is how we have to live. If we're doing something that's illegal, it's because we're out here every day trying to live. We don't get a lot of money. We got to live. We got to do what we have to do to get what we want for our family.
What I'm referring to are the people that are using the money to buy liquor.
The 1%.
How would you even know? I mean, how would you even know what people are doing with their money?
It's not a stereotype.
It is a stereotype. That 1%.
What about the legislators that drink liquor all the time on the clock?
And what,
Let's talk about
and
that.
what about Excel Energy that wastes public money to fly empty corporate jets from here to Denver, which we did a series 10 minutes worth of stories on 2 years ago?
It's noticeable about what people are doing with their money. I mean, seriously, we're on the brink. There's people that have killed themselves because they can't even live off of the $437 that's been in place for 26 motherfucking years.
Hey.
I'm sorry, but it's true. It is true. Everybody in the streets is struggling. You have to understand that people are struggling, that are on these welfare grants. That stuff that people get from the county ain't nothing. People can't even live off of that. They have to live with other family members or friends. And then they call that fraud. And they call that fraud. Because I have a friend that, yes it is. I have a friend that lives with me. It's fraud.
Low-income
Mothers are on suicide
Do you
watch.
investigate that? Have you ever investigated the calculations and the exit marks and how long and how much time we got? Have you ever researched
That's a
it?
very good point.
And how a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old can't go in the homeless shelter with their parents.
There's no research. There's nobody reaching out from the media to ask, well, how are the families doing it?
You have
We can get some of the education right here. We need education.
Yes, you have never asked us about welfare.
What's going on?
Let's talk about the real people existing on welfare. And we know you are the experts, and you have never come to us.
Instead, you want to talk about somebody who might have got a damn tattoo with some damn EBT money and you can't even prove it. You can't prove it. Did you see the person go up to the Did you see? Yeah, because somebody was set
Not
up.
enough to change major laws that affect all of us for a few people.
And we know because we've been at the Capitol, we've been champions to policy making, and we will continue to do so. But you're focusing on according to the Department of Human Services numbers, it's 1% of the population.
And the dollar
So then
amount?
why are you focusing on something that's so minuscule?
Can I ask a question? Why is it wrong? Why would you say it's okay? I feel like you're saying it's okay to let people abuse the system.
No, we're not saying that.
We're saying we're being abused by the system.
Why do you feel that it's important?
I think that those dollars that somebody's using to take trips, if we found people taking trips with their dollars.
Do you realize that people have family in the military? Somebody might, we should be able to travel if a person has died and they need to go see that person.
On the corporate welfare, why were they not asking these questions when the policymakers gave $975 million to a losing franchise, the Minnesota Vikings? Why weren't they doing those investigative courts then? And no, you didn't. And if you did, it was all of like 32 seconds. But it wasn't an in-depth story about how that was corporate welfare. So why are you targeting poor people but not rich
We
people?
took as much heat from the Vikings over a story we did last Friday as we're taking right now because we challenged and said that their licensing rights for all of these highfalutin corporate suites they're going to have are going to make the Vikings come out whole. They're not going to have to put a cent into the stadium project. No one else has that story. We did it last Friday, and believe me, we heard from them just like we're hearing from you, and we stand by that story. I stand by the stories we've done. I think we do need to take a look and talk to you about people who are living day to day, living dollar to dollar, and I think that is one piece of common ground that I can find with you right here and now.
And I will tell you, I think it's interesting to know that they have.
Okay, are you willing to stand with? They have not in 26 years.
How are you doing a series on welfare and you do not know that? See, that's the problem we're talking about. And I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm just saying, you're focusing on
So you didn't know they haven't been raised?
tiny minuscule fraction that you say is with fraud, and probably a huge amount of most people believe in fraud anyway. That's creative peace or whatever. But what I'm saying is, a whole series on all of them, that little but you don't know that the grant has been raised.
26 years.
26
Do you
years.
know what a welfare family lives on? I mean, I'm just asking. Do you know what a welfare family lives on? Do you know what a mother and a child lives on in a month? Do you know what that grand amount is? I'd like to finish what I'm saying. What we'd like to say is that we want an equal amount to make up for the damage that breaks down because you have perpetrated the stereotypes beyond 1,000 times beyond any reality. That's what your program has done. That is harmful. It's harmful to your kids. It's harmful to us. We're asking you to make up for that.